Okay, these notes are going to cover surface area and volume. You should have a long sheet of paper. You need to cut out the nets, and you need to highlight the bases of the nets. Okay, so cut out your nets and then highlight the bases. The first shape we're going to talk about is the prism. Okay, so I've used net number 2 and net number 3. Okay, so for surface area, for lateral surface area of the prism, our formula is surface area is equal to perimeter of the base times the height. So in this case, my base is the triangle, and the perimeter of this triangle we're going to say is 10 times the height. The height connects the two bases, and that's 4. So this is going to be 10 times 4, which is 40 units. So the lateral surface area is 40 units, and that is everything not counting the bases. Then the total surface area, I'm still using figure 2, and because the formula for that is the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. Well, we already did this part up here, so I just went ahead and put 40. Because my base is in the shape of a triangle, I put a triangle around big B, and then I labeled big B as base times height divided by 2, or you could say 1/2 base times height divided by 2. So then when I substitute those values in, I have 40 plus 2 times the base is 4, the height's 2. That gets divided by 2 because it's a triangle. But because I have a 2 here and a 2 here, those actually divide away. So all I have to do is multiply the 4 times the 2, and I get 8. So I have 40 plus 8, which is 48 units. Then I used shape 3 for the volume. Okay, and the formula for volume of a prism is the area of the base times the height. In this case, my base is a rectangle, so the area of a rectangle, you find that by multiplying length times width. So I replaced the big B with length times width times height, and those dimensions are going to be 4 times 5 times 3. I multiply those together, and I get 60 units cubed because volume is going to be in units cubed. Then we have this cylinder. Okay, and on that cylinder I highlighted the two bases so that when I roll this up, I'll see that highlighted part on top. And then I've labeled the circumference and the height of the cylinder. To find the, and then I've also, the base is the circle, so the area of the base is pi r squared. Okay, to find the lateral surface area, that is 2 times pi r times the height. So we replace pi with 3.14. 2 times 3.14. Our radius was 2 and our height is 4. Remember that our height connects the two bases. And when I multiply all that out, I get 50.24 units squared for the lateral surface area. So that's everything not counting the circles. And so basically this is, well actually this is the circumference formula because that's what my length or width is the circumference times the height. Alright, for total surface area, I have my formula as 2 pi r times the height plus 2 pi r squared. Okay, pi r squared is that base. Because there's 2 circles, that's why I need 2. This answer is the same as this answer because we've already solved this. Okay, so we've already done that part. So I'm going to replace pi with 3.14. The radius is 2, it gets squared. When I multiply all this out, I get 25 and 12/100ths. When I add this together, I get 75 and 36 hundredths. And then because this is surface area, this would be units squared. Then to find the volume of a cylinder, volume is equal to big B times H, where big B is the area of my base. My base is a circle, so I replace big B with pi r squared times the height. The height connects the two bases. So that's 3.14 times 2 squared times 4. When I multiply all that out, I get 50 and 2400ths units cubed because volume is in cubic units. I don't always have to use pi or 3.14 for pi. Sometimes we leave it in units of pi. If we leave it in units of pi, which is a more exact answer, we get the answer is 16 pi units cubed. We also have surface area and volume for the pyramid. So I've used net number 5 here, and I've highlighted the base, and I've labeled the area of the base as base times height divided by 2. So the lateral surface area is 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height. Well, the perimeter of the base, I'm just going to go ahead and say each of these are 4. So that gives me a perimeter of 12, and I'm just going to go ahead and say the slant height is 4. Well, 1/2 of 12 is 6, and 6 times 4 gives me a lateral surface area of 24 units squared. And the lateral surface area is everything except for the base. Then the total surface area is 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height plus the area of the base. Since my base that I'm using is a triangle, I drew a triangle around big B to help me remember. I need to replace that with the formula for area of a triangle, which is base times height divided by 2. So this 24 I just substituted in because this part of the formula is the same thing as the lateral surface area formula. And then I just went ahead and said that the base is 4 and the height's 4. And then when I solve this, I get 24 plus 8. So that gives me 32 units squared for the total surface area of that pyramid. Then I have the volume, and I'm going to use shape number 4 to figure out the volume. Volume is equal to 1/3 big B times H. Because my big B is a rectangle, then I put a rectangle around it. Okay, and so big B is length times width. Or in this case, you could say this is a square and say side times side. So I get 1/3 length times width times height. So that's 1/3 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, which gives me 1/3 is 64, which I'm going to leave in fraction form my answer because that's more exact. 21 1/3 units cubed for the volume of this square pyramid, and I just used 4 as the height because we really don't have that. Okay, then we have the cone and the sphere. Okay, the cone that we are just going to solve for volume, not surface area, and volume is 1/3 big B times H. My big B is pi r squared. All right. So I substitute that in, replace pi with 3.14. The radius is 2, it gets squared. So when I do my calculations, I wind up with 1/3 times 37.68. So I'm just going to divide by 3, and I get 12.56 units cubed. I've worked the same problem over here, it's just that I've left it in units of pi, so that our answer would be 4 pi units cubed for the volume of this cone. And then we have this sphere. I don't have a net, obviously, for the sphere. I'm just going to say the radius is 3 for an example. So we have 4/3 pi r cubed. So I replace pi with 3.14. I'm going to use 3 for my radius. When I cube it, I get the 27. When I multiply this out, I get 113 400 units. Or over here, I've left it in units of pi so that I wind up, instead of using 3.14, I just leave it as pi, and I get 36 pi units cubed. Now over here, the way that I got rid of The way I went from 27 to 9 is this 3, I used it to divide the 29 by 3, so that I wound up with 9, and then I could just multiply this. And over here I show you it a little bit differently, that I'm saying 4 times 27, and then divided by 3, you could work it that way also. And that concludes our surface area and volume notes.